This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and Mouse Fan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner and the recommended travel planner for allears.net. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fee, so be sure to get a no-obligation quote by just visiting www.mousefantravel.com. And it's Wednesday, October 10th, 2007, and this is episode 320 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org. On the show today, we have the man of the hour, Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Matt, did I ever tell you that I like turtles?
Once or twice.
I like turtles.
Also on the show today is Len Testa, who's the co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding. And the man who dances when we tell him to dance, it's Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com and All Ears Net. Welcome, Mike.
Matt, I won't shell you with that I like turtles stuff, but I will give you this podcast opening. We will need electro beams and crystal prisms, gyroscopes, and magnetisms.
Journey into imagination. Imagination. Imagination.
A dream can be a dream come true. With just one wish.
Spark.
Oh, whatever. For me,
just one wish.
Whatever. I'm getting in my Disneyese mixed up.
It's called one little spark. One little wish. That'll be the next big marketing campaign we do.
There you go. It's Wednesday, and we're going to answer your listener questions. And guys, it wouldn't be a listener question show without some praise for the man that we call Mike Newell. So, Mike, this is for you, baby. It comes from Erwin and Julia from Laurel, Maryland, who writes, "Hey there. We've both written in a couple times before, but this is our first fan letter as a married couple. Insert aw or ew here per your personal preference.
Aww.
We just got our 2008 unofficial guide, sent off our 2007 unofficial guide down to a friend who's planning her family's first trip for early 2008, and picked up a copy of Queens of the Kingdom thanks to episode 310.
Fabulous!
But enough with the general praise. The main reason we're writing is to give a hearty thanks and a big smile to that unsung hero, the George Harrison of the Walt Disney World Today Fab Four, Mike Newell.
I'm usually referred to as Ringo Starr, but I'll take George Harrison.
Feel free to settle it amongst yourself as to who John, Paul, and Ringo are. We've got our ideas, but let's see who you come up with. Anyway, we just got back from our honeymoon, during which we spent a week down at the World. The afternoon we arrived, we started our trip at Epcot, as always. Normally, it's our tradition to ride Spaceship Earth as soon as we arrive. No comments from Len, please. However, with it being down for rehab at this point, we couldn't do that, so we needed another starting point. Since we had left our legacy there on our engagement trip in December 2006, we thought about going to find our picture in the graveyard, quote-unquote. However, we had forgotten our locator card, and the locator kiosk in the park seemingly vanished with the rest of the sales area. So, on a whim, we said to ourselves, let's go to the camera shop. Since it's good enough for Newell, it's good enough for us. Much to our surprise, we saw that the Leave a Legacy locator is now stationed in the camera shop. And so we found our picture and where it is exactly. We couldn't have done it without you, Newell. May we never have even looked in the windows of the camera shop on our whole trip to see our sign otherwise. So don't let the other guys get on your case about your fascination with the camera shop. Our world is a better place because of it.
You see, there's so much more to that camera shop than film. You see?
Must be.
Thank you, guys.
So I encourage all of our listeners to send in questions specifically aimed at Mike Newell.
No. Edit.
Next email is from Rick Gregg of Chicagoland.
Oh, Rick! Mr. Voice.
Yeah, that's right. Dear Matt, Mike, and Len, Mr. Voice here. I'm sitting at work at late night in the Windy City, and one of my coworkers has the TV turned on. All of a sudden, I'm hearing the Walt Disney World Today theme song. I whip my head around to the screen and see advertisements using the same music as the one in the open and close.
No way.
The commercial is for some scam where you message your name and birthday to some number and in return tells you the name of your one true love. I imagine, Matt, that if you were to try the service, it would come back Lou, but that's another story. The ad led me to a question. What is your one true love at Walt Disney World? Something you have to eat or do or see each trip. Let's eliminate Scopa Towers, Dr. Scopa's Miracle Elixir, Wonka bars, etc. from the conversation. By now, they've been accepted into the mainstream, don't you think? Mr. Newell, since it's the Mike Newell show, why don't you start this off?
Wow, my favorite show. You know,
I know one, Mike, but one for you rather.
You know, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with in the studios. Matt, you're gonna appreciate it. I know they have this elsewhere, but I like this one in the studios in particular. alongside the lake area. There's a little place there that sells the frozen lemonades.
Yeah, Professor Peavy's frozen concoctions or something like
You're
that.
too good. You're too good. But they also have it. Wasn't cherry. It was raspberry, I think. Lemonade.
Yeah,
It is to die for. It is so good. And if you're there and it's really hot, you can't beat it.
You know, speaking of the studios, I love the Beverly Sunset store, the one that's on the corner of Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard, and they have the bakery over there. They have all the chocolates and the fudges and candy, everything. I always stop there. It's my favorite place to stop before we go to Fantasmic. Last time I was there, I went with Josh and Sarah, and we stopped over there and loaded up. And Josh and Sarah, you know, rookies, Len, they got one dessert apiece. Me, a veteran of the Testa family endeavors into the park, got about 3 or 4.
I was going to say.
And then made our way to our seats.
Lightweights.
Exactly. Len?
Pirates of the Caribbean. Have to go on it every trip. Or Splash Mountain every trip.
That's a good one. Scopa?
Illuminations.
Very good. Mr. Voice says his one true love, or at least one of them, I'm not really expecting anyone to be monogamous here, is a ride in front of the monorail. Even if it's only halfway around the park, I get 2 pilot licenses this summer. I got 2 pilot licenses.
Awesome.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Voice. Next email is from Beth and Len, who write, Dear Matt, Mike, and Len, I know this is cutting it close, but I'm hoping to get this in for our trip in October. We have a bit of a budget crunch. We have a bit of a budget crunch, however. For one of the 2 nights, we'd really like to experience some of the high-end dining establishments in any of the resorts on property. We're wondering if it would be totally unacceptable to just order a few appetizers and dessert, or would the waiters just spit in our food? I'm hoping to get your answers this year, but if not, well, we'll just wing it. Thanks for your help. We really enjoy your podcast. It helps keep us calm when driving in nutty South Florida traffic and keeps the Disney magic alive as well.
First problem is getting an ADR in October at a high-class restaurant.
Yeah, really. But assuming you can do that, I don't think anybody cares.
Yeah. You can order. I've been with people who just order appetizers, so yeah. Of course, I order about 9 entrees, but you know. Yeah, you can order.
Yeah, I've done it at. Okay, that's not a high class place, but I've done it at Mama Melrose's in Studios.
Yep.
I think if you ordered, if you're ordering 2, that might be an issue. But if you're ordering 3 or 4, certainly 4, no problem. 3, almost no problem. 2, people might kind of look at you funny, like, I better get a decent tip out of this. But
they won't escort you out or anything. They're not going to be like, sir, you have to
order. No. They'll just call it the thugs over.
Spit in your food, yeah.
Let's say, God forbid anything bad should happen to your appetizers. That's all I'm saying. Maybe you should order an entree to make sure it's accompanied and safe. God forbid something bad should happen to your your squid. What is
something?
Lord.
Next email is from Dan Morris of Fontana, California. Writes, Hey guys, great podcast. I absolutely love the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Question is, I'm planning a trip for November of 2008. Enter random year here to make up for a possible delay and answer my question. My group will be 14 total. First of all, I'm wondering, is it possible to get 4 adjoining rooms at one of the resorts? Access doors between the rooms. Yes, we like each other that much.
I
Never
don't think you get access. I don't think you get access to all 4, but you could get.
No, you could do 2 and 2.
Right, 2 and 2.
You can certainly ask. You might not have your preferred building, like they might not be able to put you in the best building that Len might recommend, but certainly I think they could do their best to try to accommodate you. Dan also wants to know, what would be the best resort to stay at with a large group? We don't like camping, and most of the group has never been to Disney World.
I'm thinking at least a moderate resort. How many people? How many rooms? 4 rooms? 14 people? So
yes.
3.5 people per room?
Sounds that way.
I'm thinking at least a moderate.
Yeah, I would say so.
A Valley Resort's kind of small, isn't it?
Yeah, and it would be great to have Port Orleans French Quarter in this case, I think, because the resort's so small. So even if they stick you at the farthest place in the resort, you're not really that far away.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
good
that's
idea,
what I would think too. Yeah.
That was good. I like that. That's very, very good.
Good. I aim to please. Next email is from Rick from St. Louis, who writes, Hey gang, love the show. My family and I are going to Walt Disney World in December of 2008 for my dad's 60th birthday. Hopefully this will give you plenty of time to answer the question. We'll have 6 adults and 4 kids, ages 4, 3, 2. Who wants to guess how old the last kid is?
One.
27.
1. Very good. And staying for 10 days. What do you think is our best option for accommodations? Renting DVC points for a grand villa at Key West, it will cost 464 points. Renting at $11 a point will cost about $5,000. Or getting 3 regular rooms at a moderate resort for $4,900 or a value resort for $2,800. Would the grand villa be worth the extra money?
The only thing that the villa would be, maybe besides the space, the only thing you would use the villa for would be to cook meals there.
Plus, you're all together in like one large thing.
You say that like it's an advantage. You obviously don't have a large family. Where sometimes you just want the peace and quiet and serenity now. I'd say save the money. That's my first instinct.
Let me since this is the Mike Newell show, I'll ask Mike Newell a question. Mike, have you seen the Grand Villas at Old Key West?
Oh, I've stayed in them over 10 times now. Yeah.
Oh, see, this is the Mike Newell show one, so I just figured I'd ask Newell about it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What's your opinion of it, Newell? Before we ask Glenn.
Well, see, I don't pay it in cash, so I mean, it's a lot of money. But how many people all together? The 4 kids.
6 adults, 4 kids.
Yeah. I would swing for it. Absolutely.
Glenn?
I don't know, man. I mean, I've stayed in it before, and yeah, it's very nice if you're staying, especially if you're staying a long time. But again, how are you going to make up the difference between that and the moderate resort in terms of food? You'd have to cook every single meal there. At least you'd have to cook a dinner there every night, and that's, I don't know. I mean, it's only money.
It's only Len's money.
It's just money.
I would say that the views are really, really nice at Old Key West. In fact, we're staying there in October, partly because the last time I was there in March, I was sitting out by on the patio with a drink. There's a breeze blowing by, and I thought, my wife would really like this, so we're staying there in October because I thought she'd like it. So, I mean, Old Key West is nice. I know that's Miss Man, sweetheart.
Shut up. Shut up.
Next email's from Mark in New Jersey. Writes, hi guys, love the show as always. I've got some questions I have as I'm planning my upcoming trip to the world for mid-January. First of all, I'm planning a trip to the world from January 18th to 24th. It should be pretty quiet then, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
And on a different subject, a better subject, food, I'm going with my in-laws and father-in-law who's a diabetic. Are there enough choices for his dietary needs to allow him to eat for 7 days? What do you think about using the dining plan in my situation?
Definitely, I don't think you'll have any trouble whatsoever in getting meals for him. What you might want to do is if you're dining at a sit-down establishment, call the restaurant ahead of time, at least 24 hours in advance, and go over the dietary restrictions with the chef, and they'll be happy to make stuff that'll fit your father's diet.
Yeah, and I would also recommend perhaps we just had the Deb Coma and Deb Wills talk about their latest book, Open Mouse, which talks about among other things dietary needs at Walt Disney World, and certainly you might want to take a look at that for some tips, suggestions, and some pointers right there. Next email is from Sean Nabo, who writes, Matt and the gang, I have a question that I couldn't think I've ever heard you guys talk about before. Could you maybe discuss which out of all the restaurants in the resorts and parks have the best kid-friendly type environment? We all know, of course, the character meals, but I mean besides those. Like, for instance, my wife and I are going soon. And I know that,
welcome back.
I know that. I know, but we wanted to try the Coral Reef restaurant. I know the food isn't the best from what I've heard, but she wants to see the atmosphere. Would that place be an okay place to take a 1.5-year-old? We also have reservations at the San Angel Inn and the Japanese restaurants. How about these? They may be for a good topic, but I'm not sure. If not, maybe this will get answered before we go. Haha. Keep up the great work.
That's great.
So, kid-friendly restaurants. I think the Japanese one would be really good. Obviously, the new one hasn't reopened.
Right.
Exactly. But the whole Teppan style dining, that's always fun for the kids. They always do all the little tricks, with the train and the volcano and all that. It's a lot of fun, and I think for kids and adults, I think that one would be good. Are there any other kid friendly ones that you can think of, Mike Scopa?
Whispering Canyon, Primetime Cafe.
Oh, good ones. Yep. Those are. I mean, that's 3 right there between myself and Scopa's recommendations. Trying to think if there are any others that are kid-friendly.
Kid-friendly.
That don't involve character meals, obviously.
What about the dining, sci-fi dining?
Yeah.
Could be.
In general, I don't like to recommend the sci-fi for anybody.
But it could be.
What about Rainforest?
Same category.
Hannah and I went there though in July. We sat down, we waited for 15 minutes. No one came over and took our drink. We left.
Are you kidding?
No one came. It was lunch. It wasn't even that busy. No one came by.
Boy, and Hannah's nothing without her beer. Boy.
I know, really. If you have 10, 20 minutes without her Heineken, come on.
All right. Next email's from Nora, who writes, "Hi guys, Matt, I was listening to one of your podcasts when someone is making fun of your aversion to the dinosaur ride. Well, I'm here to tell you that I share your aversion, and for good reason. The first time I went to Animal Kingdom, I really didn't know what kind of ride this was. I thought it might be something like Ellen's Energy Adventure, but no! This thing is practically a roller coaster. It rocked, it rolled, and it flung me around the vehicle like a rag doll. I purchased a picture showing my expression of sheer terror just to make sure I remember why I would never ride this ride again. Stick with your guns and don't be afraid to be called a wimp. Wimps rule." And I do have a question. When having dinner at one of the sit-down...
heard from the ladies cotillion. Okay, go ahead.
Whatever, it's vindication. When having dinner at one of the sit-down restaurants, is it okay to just get an appetizer? Sometimes their entrees can be too big, and I end up only eating about half the entree. Well, I do have time to leave room for dessert, of course.
So you get an appetizer and then dessert?
Yeah, that's...
Sure. I think so.
That should be fine. Like I said, I don't really think they care.
Has Disney ever turned down anyone's money?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think so, yeah.
I really don't think they go in and say, "You lose, sir. Good day, sir."
Good day. I said good day.
Next email is from Chip Joyce, who writes, "Hey guys, my family's favorite ride of all Disney property is hands down the Great Movie Ride. When we first rode it so many years ago, we instantly fell in love and ended up riding it 4 times that trip. And ever since then, always visit at least 2 or 3 times each trip. There's just something about that ride that makes it so special for us. Everything about it, from the classic rides to the interactive experiences, just speaks to us in a way that just many other attractions don't. Imagine my surprise when becoming a Disney podcast junkie that so many people apparently find it outdated or even boring. I would cringe if they ever made any dramatic changes to the ride or the experience it delivers, but in what ways might they consider making it new again besides adding gaudy sorcerer hats to its exterior?" Anyway, what do you guys think?
There's other podcasts out there?
No,
What's a podcast?
About the great changes to the Great Movie Ride.
Well,
I don't
the
see
thing is that as the younger generation comes up, I think that there are a few portions of that ride which I think need to be looked at and maybe need to be refurbished. Number one, how many? I know that my children had no idea who Johnny Weissmuller was. So when they see the Tarzan portion, that's like, who is this? What's that? And I also think that the James Cagney thing is kind of crazy. I think what they need to do is they need to upgrade those genres. I mean, if they want to show a Western, if they want to show a gangster, they need to maybe put Goodfellas in there or something. I don't know. I think that they really need to take a look at all the real old scenes and think about, well, will our guests over the next 10, 15, 20 years, besides the adults, will they really know where these scenes came from? So I really think
they don't even know half.
Yeah, I really think that sooner or later, probably within the next 10 years, there will be a refurbishment of that attraction.
Don't you guys see this as an opportunity to educate guests who don't know about these films? Like, for instance, I've never seen, up until last week, I never saw Singing in the Rain. Probably would never have seen it, except for the ride. And I said, well, it's a big attraction in the ride. And I saw the DVD. An amazing film. So don't you think this is a great opportunity to, exhibit these different for their great films? Don't you think it's a good opportunity to do that?
Yeah, the heck with it.
Len, do you store your soul in a box?
It's my line. I use it on you.
That was not like an episode 2.
I know. It's no kid these days is gonna sit there and watch those movies. They're just not.
I mean, I want to see Mungo delivering the right cross to a horse. That's what I want to see.
There too. But I mean, Hannah's never seen Star Wars. It's different these days. Kids don't know good for nothing.
Really think that they should consider making an attraction and call it the Great Disney Movie Ride, and they have all these Disney
that would be
movies.
terrible.
Oh, please, no.
You know why it's going to be bad? Because it'll be a huge shameless plug instead of what it should be. In principle, I would agree with you, Scoba, but we all know that it's going to turn into this huge commercial.
The studios is enough of a commercial already, so.
Yeah. Next email is from Danielle in New Jersey, who writes, Hi, boys. I'm heading down to the world in October and staying at Scopa Towers for one night following a week at Vero Beach. We leave on Friday evening to go back home and do not have plans to go to the parks the last day. What are some suggestions on what we should do the day we leave? We have the morning and the afternoon to do something.
But they're not going to the parks?
I don't know. Is that a suggestion? I mean,
that's what they said. She's not going to the parks.
Yeah, so something else.
No.
I might, if I could borrow a line from Mike Scopa's playbook here, I would say go to maybe Beaches and Cream, have a meal over there for like
Go
lunch.
to Boardwalk. Yep. Go to Boardwalk.
Pool hop
Visit
until you get arrested.
Yeah.
What was that one?
Pool hop until you get arrested.
There you go. True story.
All your
line.
friends are doing it. Exactly.
Next email is from Angel Zeno of Ada, Michigan. He sent me phonetically how to say everything.
Nice.
Who writes, I think this is a good question for Mike Scopa. I understand that at the end of each day, the cast members conduct a sweep of the Magic Kingdom, gently guiding guests to the front of the park. Someone mentioned to me that if you were the last guest out, you receive some type of certificate. Can you confirm that this is true?
I don't know if it's true. I can remember talking to a couple of my cast member friends. One time I was down there and I wanted to stay to the very end. And I told them that as I was walking through the back areas of the Magic Kingdom, there was a security guard who kept his eye on me. But every time I turned around, he kind of faded, like, oh, I don't want the guests to see me. And I just decided I'd try to wait him out. But I got really tired and I left early. And I remember telling this to a couple of my cast member friends who work in the Magic Kingdom. And I can't tell you how long it took them to get up when they were laughing about it. Because I guess a lot of people do that and they think that there's something special about staying late. And as far as I know, there is nothing special about staying late. But if you happen to be the last person in the park, I'm pretty sure that you will be asked many times, "Can I help you, sir? Can I help you, sir?" Because there's nothing to do when the attractions are closed and the stores are closed.
There you go.
It's a long answer.
Let's do it. We should do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see how long we can stay.
Do it in October.
We tried that one.
Yeah, I know, but we should try it in December when I don't have Hannah because if Hannah can't get arrested, whereas I can get arrested.
Well, we try it on the. Why don't we try it for the Not So Scary, because we got to stay up late anyway to get up late the next day because we got to run the next night.
That's
I'm
right.
usually in bed. Jeez.
It's 9 p.m. You're usually in bed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next email is from Jennifer from Nanticoke, Pennsylvania, who writes, Hey guys, love the show. I'm a new listener and just heard about your show at Magic Meets this year, probably because Mike Newell was pumping the audio to everybody in the thing. Nice job, Newell. Forgive me if this question has already been asked, but I was wondering if Disney will ever finish the other half of Pop Century. It would be a shame to get it as far as it is and then not finish it. We stayed at Pop Century in 2004 and loved it. Thanks for the info. Scopa, what's the latest?
The deal is that I believe that within the next 18 months they will begin construction on Phase 2 of Scopa Towers, and from what I understand, within the next 3 years they will be open for business.
Really?
I heard that last. Yeah, I heard that last.
I'd be surprised.
Last October, about a year ago. Yeah, they should start construction sometime around 2008. That's what I was told. Okay. Secondhand from a manager at Pop Century. So we'll see what happens.
Next email is from Craig from Columbus, Ohio, who writes, Go Bucks and Go Browns. Hey guys, I just finished listening to the July 25th listener questions episode. I had a response for the guy who will be taking his family to Walt Disney World at the end of April 2008. My wife and I, at the end of April 2006, for the reasons you mentioned, went to April 2006 for the reason you mentioned. We avoided spring break crowds. It was the value season, and we even caught the beginning of the Flower and Garden Festival. There was one thing that we hadn't counted on, though. This was when grad nights began. We missed Wishes because we didn't plan on early closure for grad night festivities, not to mention the fact that there were an unusual number of grad nighters sucking face wherever they could. I would make it a point to avoid viewing windows in the seas, as those ledges seem especially romantic. Insert outstanding hydrolators are real jokes here. Seriously, though, if plans include a weekend at the end of April through May, be sure to account for grad night festivities.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, well, okay, grad night's definitely in April, but if you look at the April calendar, I think we talked about this on an earlier show, there's also pirate and princess parties.
Right.
I think scheduled for April. Now, you don't get as much sucking face on those, although it depends on what kind of saucy wench you bring to the party.
Saucy wench?
Saucy, not sausage wench.
Saucy.
Did you say saucy or sausage?
No, I said saucy.
Okay,
But sausage would have been funnier, so let's go with sausage.
That was just stupid. Anyway. So there's a lot of stuff going on in April. There's, I think, 4 grad night days in April. One of the things that we noticed last year was the number of high schools who have turned this from a one-night event into a weekend event. Like for those kids who are staying Saturday night, I think a lot of the high schools are actually coming up Friday night. So they're staying all day Saturday in the parks and then all night.
Wow.
Yeah. Next email is from Elizabeth, who writes, "Hello. Started listening to your podcast as I plan our upcoming trip and enjoyed it very much. Thank you. I have a question about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. We're taking our 2 sons there for their first trip to Disney in December. They'll be 4 years old and 8 months at the time of the trip. We realize the baby won't get much out of it, but we will get pictures of her. Do you think attending Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party would be worth the extra money or a good value? We were thinking about doing Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party on December 18th. We will be in the world the week of the 15th to 22nd of 2007, staying on property at a Magic Kingdom resort, and we'll be spending 6 days in the various parks. So, Mike Scopa, do you think that it's worth the extra money for them to go?"
Capital N, capital O, no. The children are too young. It's not worth it. They may not remember it. I know that there will be people who will disagree with me, but I just don't think. The question is it worth it? And I don't think it's worth it because I don't think the children will remember it. If you can't remember it, then why pay that money? Remember, it's a very expensive. I don't know what it is for children. I'm guessing it's in the low 40s. So it would be an extra. It would be wait a minute. The 8 month. I guess you won't have to pay for the 8 month year-old, but I have this thing about children under 6. Really, it's a stretch to accept it as being worth it. Now I'll turn this over to Mr. Testa.
I'll take the opposite tack. It's not so much for the one kid that you're doing it for, but for everyone else. So go ahead and do it. I think it's the entertainment's definitely different during Christmas, and a lot of the shows are very, very fun for the entire family. Hopefully, it won't be that crowded. I think it's worth going to. What the heck? It's a memory.
One more point. The age of the children is important because it's late at night, and that's the aspect that I think a lot of people may not realize is that the children may be too pooped to enjoy the entertainment that you speak of. So that's a concern that I think everybody needs to keep in mind.
I have to agree with Len on this one. I think it's worth bringing the kids, especially since one is free.
It's only money.
And it's only money, exactly. Last email here, I think it's a good question for Len. It's from John Hoskins, who writes, "Hi, gang. Love the podcast. Just got done reading How to Be Like Walt. One of the interesting bits I picked up from it was about Walt's original vision for, Epcot, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, as opposed to what has become Epcot, the theme park. Do you know of any books or resources which detail his original vision? I've tried Google, but it returns too much stuff about the current park."
Yeah, I don't have the books handy, but there are a couple of books on Amazon. If you type in Epcot, you'll get them. One of them is, I think it's called Epcot Building the City of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Community of Tomorrow. Yep. Yeah, there's
So you recommend Waltopia.com?
Waltopia.com, yes.
Okay, so there's a resource right there. Anything else, Len? Did you find any other books worth the while?
No, the Epcot one, I think there's 2 versions of that book. One is a paperback. It's like 100 pages. And there's one that's like almost 200. The 200 one is hardback, and it's the better of the 2 books. it actually details what Walt had wanted to do with Epcot.
Well, I guess that's it for us today. And Mike Newell, after we read our little spiel over here, can I make a request to hear the Walt Disney World Today theme song at the end of the show in its entirety?
You got it.
Again, this episode of Walt Disney World Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, who specialize in cruises and other vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world, including places that Mike Newell travels when he's not being emailed on this show. MEI and Mouse Fan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner and the recommended travel planner for Mike Newell. Oh yeah, and allears.net. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. So, to get a no-obligation quote, just visit www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, why don't you visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. For Len Teston, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Your next vacation time is so far away. You're counting down the seconds every single day. What are you to do? Well, there's one venue I recommend you turn to, where your magic withdrawal will finally be cured. Spend 3 days a week with Super Walt Disney World nerds. You can depend on Matt, Mike, and WDW today. Oh, WDW today. Oh, WDW today. When you are in trouble, you'll find WDW today. Len will sing Van Halen songs and then he will provide plugs for touringplans.com and the unofficial guide. If we can dream it, then we can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Matt's still convinced that you move on the hydrolators and eat Salud Mangello for a box of Wonka bars. When you introduce your co-host tonight, please get their websites right. Even with nervous breakdowns, the words are non-stop. Forget Space Mountain, point him to the camera shop, or he'll just go next to that freaking bush to fill up Mouse World Radio. Dr. Scopa grew up in the Garden of Eden. He'd eat a Scopa special, then a Dole Whip in the sun. Skip Animal Kingdom and stay at Scopa Towers tonight. Unfortunately, Scopa is right. WDW today. Oh, WDW today. Oh, WDW today. When you are in trouble, you'll find WDW today. They'll send you to Narcoossee's table for two, you'll have fun. Oh, yeah. They'll bulldoze Chester and Hester and rebuild Horizon. Listen on Wednesdays and maybe you'll hear last year's questions. Oh, but that's just part of what makes this podcast the best one. WDW today. WDW today. WDW today. Give them 5 minutes. At WDW